Hello everybody and welcome to part 3 version 2.0 of my work on the IMS C0ntext Context Group service. I did a great 48-minute live where I did all the work, and as I was shuffling things around in YouTube Studio I deleted the wrong thing because I was doing some editing on part 2 and then I deleted part 3 and it doesn't matter. So this is an abbreviated part 3, and I'm going to, I'm not going to redo it all. I'm just going to kind of show you where we started in part 3 and where we ended in part 3 using GitHub, because I still got all the changes. So here we go. So let's go here and let's get this camera up. Okay. Hi everybody. I'll keep an eye on the live chat over here. So again, we are working on Sakai, a great open source learning management system, competing with Canvas and D2L and Blackboard, and the thing that we have that no one else except Moodle really has is the ability for you to control your learners' private data. But nobody seems to care about that. But here we are. Oops, that's the wrong. It's the wrong JIRA. This is our JIRA. So we are working on this JIRA, tracking and implementing the LTI Context Group service. This is a beautiful little spec, and the basic idea of this spec is that we are sharing with the tool the names of the groups. It's a pretty simple spec, although we'll get to some more. The actual listing of the groups is almost the easiest and simplest part of it. And so when we last left our heroes, this is a git diff, we built some new objects with some unit tests and then added some code to the servlet, added some code to the LTI 1.3 launch, added some code to access token. Well, let's just say git diff, right? And then added a bit there because we had to add some data and add some constants, and then we had to make it so that we would include the new claim in the launch. So let's take a look at git diff and walk through. Let's do this. Where we left before was a lot of this stuff was done in parts 1 and parts 2. Where we left before, the stuff that was done in 3. Do I have something going on in some, where are my terminals at? Or maybe I just got blown up. I'm going to edit anyways. Is that running? Do I have any more windows here? Oh, I do have windows. Wait a sec, I don't want to edit here. Q. Where are all these windows at? Right there. Okay, so there's my. Let me close all these guys. Oop, because I have these already. Okay, so was this running? Let's run tail again because I think I'm already up. Yes, I'm up, so I can use it. Okay, so let's take a look. Where we last left our heroes is at the end of part 2 was we had done a lot of work where we had the access token and had added the context group to the access token. We had built this new groups.php code. We had taught the context object inside of Tsugi to get groups token and load the groups. And then we had to change core.lti.php to handle the new claim and put it in the database. But where we were is we kind of figured all this stuff out, but we hadn't written anything. So this part here is all new code. The push advisor, reading all the groups, looping through the groups, and producing output. And if you watch this here, this is my stuff. And you might look and say, well, this weird guy, he's sort of using strings to create JSON and not super objects. Well, what's going on here is this groups, if I take a look at the spec, this groups is an array. And yes, in this example, it's very small. It only has 3 items. But I just want to stream the output at this point. And so I am using sort of objects to create the stuff that I'm going to put in each of these things I'm creating in a sort of object manner. But the outer bit, oh yeah, I got to fix this. Let's put it to do in here. Constant. Fix this so it's real. This might be the first thing I do. Make it to do, make that a to do. Okay, so that is, and so I'm streaming this, right? I'm just blasting this out, and then I'm doing the JSON, and so some of the JSON I just do by hand, and then other of the JSON I'm using Jackson to kind of cleanly produce all that stuff. Okay? Because I don't want to put it all into a big array that's all in memory and then serialize that whole array when I can just kind of start the array and then blast it. I like this simple JSON design where it's an object on the outside, and if it's mostly a collection, you know, you can fit the pieces that are fixed for the whole thing versus the collection, and then I can iterate through my data and then blast that out, but not have to create a in-memory object for the entire groups thing. Just don't like it. Okay, so let's do another get status. The access token, I think we had that working earlier. Let's do a get diff on this thing here. See what I did in that. Oh, actually, I need to check that out. I was talking to somebody else. That is just some code I was writing. So that's why it was confusing me in get status. Why is that changed? And the answer is that was other work I was doing. So if we let's look at I guess now I can just do some get diff. This is going to be the get diff of everything through parts 1, parts 2, and the original part 3. So in our servlet, we handle the incoming group service. With this handle group service, I fixed some typos and some error messages, which will save me time later. This is in the scope. This is in the creating of the Sakai access token, where the tool is asking for the access token. Right here, the tool is asking for an access token, gets that back. That's a bearer that it then uses the group's access token to request that the groups be loaded. This code right here in this diff is the part where I've checked that they have the right credentials to request an access token, and I'm giving them back an access token. And then once we're in here, in the servlet itself, where we're handling the group service, what? I thought I fixed that. Tab dollar. Oh, there might be a tab dollar. I don't want that. Yeah, I can't have any. Let's just delete these, because these are kind of working. Just delete these system out printlns. Okay. Back in the get diff. This is the new code that was in part 3. It looks like the indentation is really bad on this. I have to figure out what the right indentation is, fix it. This is tabs versus spaces. It's really frustrating. Group service, that is, yeah, this is basically adding it inside Sakai, adding it to the claim, adding the claim to the launch. And yeah, that's just a bunch of comments. So we don't have too much. It's mostly in this LTI 1.3 servlet, and this is the code. So it turned out that life was really simple because I already had the site object for the Sakai site, which is like the Sakai course, and I just got the groups, and then I do a little bit of work for the paging to make the paging work. This is the link header is if you aren't giving them, if they've asked for a start and a limit and there's still more, you tell them how to continue, and that's what this header is for. I think I can actually fix this because this is the code. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I am going to make the ID be the URL. Oops. I'm going to make the ID be this rather than not include any of the paging or any of this stuff in it. Do I have this context group container anywhere as a constant already? I do. There we go. That's already in LTI 1.3 constants Java context group container type. So let's go ahead and fix that while we're just sitting here. All we really need this is to be a constant from somewhere, so we're not changing it too much. Let's check to see if LTI 1.3 constants util is already imported. It is. So that's nice. We got that done. Handle groups. Okay. Ooh. That's a syntax error. That needs a double quote in front of it and after it. Yeah, I have every chance to make a mistake and screw this up. So let's just compile that little guy again, given that I did some cleanup of it. So if we take a look, let's take a look at database.php. I added a, in the database table, if you take a look at the database table in LTI context in Tsugi, look at the structure of this. I added this column LTI context groups URL because basically the way Tsugi works is it sort of absorbs the launch data in case it needs to, in an offline manner, need to talk to these context groups. And so it just has that. So I think we can see if I've done a launch. Yeah, it stores that launch. Stores the URL from the claim, parses it from the claim, stores it, and then uses it at runtime to get this data so that it hits the right URL. Then it asks for an access token, and then it uses the token to get the groups. Okay, so let's do so that's where we're at right now. Did this compile correctly? It did. Did it deploy correctly? It did. Now let's go into Sakai itself and go into a group service and go into lessons. And we have a simple little launch to this locally hosted Tsugi that I've got that I'm working on. So we see the new group service claims coming across with all the stuff you're supposed to have. And then we can go into this new groups tab that I built, and it has loaded the groups, and these are the groups. Now these is just parsed as a PHP object. It's it's all parsed, and it's pretty much whatever we were supposed to get. You can look at the debug log. You can see that it's getting the token. It is asking for the group service for the particular site and sending the access token in, and we got her back, and then it looks good. So that's sort of where we're at. The group service is mostly working, or at least this part of the group service is working. I can't think anything else. I probably should commit this right now. So the interesting thing is we got to do this one next, the user ID. So show me the groups for user ID. That's kind of pain in the neck. What's this called? This is still a context group container return value. The tool may. I wonder if that means it's a required feature or not, but oh well. I'm gonna build it. Let me think here for a minute. Do I want to commit this into a branch temporarily? Let's just do a get diff and see what we got. It's surprisingly small amount of code. Oh, mistake. So let's do this. 42. I like that. So that's why you do a get diff. So let's compile it again and make sure that now that this is the paging code. If is there any group count? Nope, that's the int of group count. So again, this is implementing kind of the IMS wide paging code. Did that work? That worked. I love getting to the point where I can just go and reproduce something really quickly. Hit refresh, that lessons relaunches it. I can say groups, and there they are. So that's like a 2-click test of a whole bunch of code. And that's why I love this LMS test tool. Hi Krishna. I only check the chat once in a great while. Okay, so I fixed the to-dos here. Let's do this for yucks. Get diff grep to do. Do I have? Okay, so I got no to-dos left in this patch. It seems to compile just fine. The question is, should I make my branch, and should I commit this work I've done so far for my own sanity as I'm tracking, meaning I have something to go back to? And I think I'm going to. So I'll just start a branch, get remote -v. I'm working in a fork, and I'm going to do get checkout -b branch. So get status. I'm going to say get, these are new files, get add / Tsugi util. Now I'll do get status. It's all ready to go. Get commit -a LTI implement context. Jesus. Course groups service. So this is the, I'm just going to kind of commit this stuff inside Sakai and put it in a branch. Get push origin. And then I think, just for grins, I'm going to put this, I'm going to send this as a PR, as a draft PR into Sakai. And that way, like people who are, I'm going to convert it to draft. But this way, in the JIRA, I don't know how fast it is, but at least the JIRA people, yeah, people are looking at this through JIRA. No one's, I don't know who's watching this. Yeah, I don't know why they're watching it. This is a feature we don't have, and so I'm adding it. So at this point, I've got myself a branch. I'm pretty happy with where it's at. I may have already implemented the minimum stuff, and that's nice. I'm not going to commit my Tsugi code yet because, just because. So let's go back to the spec. We got more work to do. This user group, this looks really stupid to me. Fetch the groups an individual user. They may append user ID. Really? Context group sets. I'm not going to do that because I don't have it. Group enrollment. This is groups equals true to get group enrollments. Do I have that code already? Groups. This is not, this is handle names and roles. So we're looping through the reusers here. Site groups with member IM. Oh, that's kind of nice. I got to remember that. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Is this an extension that I added? Burk. Holy macro. Did I already implement this bit right here? Huh. Ha ha ha. Let's check. Look at that. It looks like I extended names and roles. Let's just look at names and roles for a minute. So this is a Sakai extension. Look at that. I've already got a thing in. Let's work on this one next. Oh, no, let's look here. Let's look here. The tool must specify group enrollments. Okay, so roles. So we're putting a thing in the roles. Okay, so that's really cool. So I'm gonna make a thing for group enrollments, and we're gonna make a I'm going to make another array here. So I'm going to have LGM. What the heck's what does that mean? LGM, which is So I'm going to make an array. I'm already creating this data, but in a slightly different form, in a slightly different place. So I'm giving, in a Sakai extension, I'm giving a, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another object. I don't know, LTI group object is a new JSON object, and why? And so I'm going to do this. LTI group object dot put group ID, group dot get ID, and then group enrollments dot add LTI group. Okay, so now I'm creating an array of group enrollments, and now I just go like this. No, not in Sakai XT. I put this in, I'm going to put this into jo.put group enrollments. Shoot. Group enrollments. So I'm already looping through this, and I had already built an extension to list the groups in which that's extension, but then I'm like, dude, I can just make a whole new set of things and show this. So let me just save this and compile it. That could be amazing. That could be like super amazing to make that super easy. Now technically, I'm supposed to specify groups equals true, but what if should I make all this stuff be groups equals true? Right? You could basically say, I could basically demand that none of that runs unless they request it on the names and roles with groups equals true. And let's just put it to do up there. To do, should we only do this if requested via groups equals true? And let's put where are we at here? Let's put a nice little reference in here for the spec that we okay. I'll tell you what I'm thinking right now. I'm really thinking of, I doubt that anybody, well, I'd really like to delete the extension that I built and put in here, but what the heck, it'll be okay. We'll do this. I don't know. Did it compile? No! That's kind of LTI group obj. Delete the blank line. That's obj. Now let's compile again. Okay, so let's reload here. And let's look at names and roles. Group enrollments. No, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't look right. That should be really part of this. What am I doing wrong there? Why am I adding it to... What's contact? What? I'm putting that in what? That is the object that's in the middle. Oh, okay, we're good. We're good. What's this? Oh, I see. I see. This is the first person, which is the instructor, who's in no groups. This is the second person, which is Nancy Drew, and she is in that group. And I've got both my extension version of it. Yeah, and I got the standard version of it. Right? I am liking that. Well, that's nice. Given that I already had code that mostly did all that, I just had to add the return value in the JSON. I'm going to leave this to do, I'm going to leave that to do in. For now, I'm just going to give it back all the time. Do I want to write a whole bunch of testing so that I can, you'll notice that I do this with source dids because that's another parameter. Yeah. Interesting. Maybe I know what we're supposed to put here. What is that spec? I know what I'm supposed to put there. So this is not just a stupid, I will change this little comment. That's just a snide little comment on my part. I hate JSON LD. No snide here. Okay, so I gotta go find current URL. There we go. Snide. Okay. So current URL in this is, I think, names and roles. And is there a site ID? I copied this. No, in this case it's signed placement. So that's one less snide comment that I'm making. But what's cool about this is I'm going to test it really quick. So I can do stuff, names and roles. Yeah, shouldn't I make some of this stuff a constant? Yeah, wouldn't that be good? Is that a compiler error? Let's find out. Yeah, it is a compiler error. What did I do wrong? I thought I was perfect. Oh, this is the compiler error. Yeah, that's good now. And so it's good for me to do this and then just run a zippity-doo-dah quick test with my beautiful LIS test, right? I mean, I can do an LTI 1.3, just hit pretty much every. I load this guy up and then I go, well, let's see if it's deployed. And it's deployed. So I can run this and I can pretty much go boom, 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 boom. There's a little bit more to do in some of these other things, but I can run a basic test of everything LTI 1.3 in this really awesome LMS test tool that I built in Tsugi. Okay, names and roles. Is it right? Okay, so that's right now. That's what I just fixed, is that ID. It's really just supposed to be the URL, kind of like, not necessarily the exact URL, because I could have get parameters on it. This is like the resource. What resource are we looking at? And that's the resource, and I just fixed that. So I feel very proud of myself that I removed a snide comment that's been back in there for a long time because I didn't understand what I was supposed to do. But I wrote that code years ago. Okay, so, but that's right now. It was easy to test. Groups still works. So within memberships, we check that off. Well, that was quick. I was not expecting that to be quick. So let's see what else we got. Oh, we got to do this user ID one. I went past that. To fetch the groups with an individual user associated with the tool, that the individual user is associated with tool, the tool may append user ID as a query parameter to the context group's endpoint. Okay. Okay, so let's go down here. In the group service. So let's grab the user ID. Change the debug. Okay. Okay. Let's compile this. Because now we got to change the testing tool to what is the user ID? What's that user ID in the world of Sakai? Don't tell me. Yeah, there we go. 1570. I made a mistake. Okay. So let's take a look at what Sakai user IDs look like. Let's go into the NRPS. Okay. Okay, so that is the user ID that we use in Sakai. Oh, it's going to suck. Because of the allow 0x3f. No. Well, there's this thing where come back. So if we look at this, this is a subject, and we're going to have to pass this user ID in. We're going to have to parse it because this is a subject, and you know, to me LTI 1.3 is the right thing. So we're going to have to so we're going to make this be groups debug log groups for current logged in user, and this is where I'm going to test. So this is within groups, okay, and so I'm going to test that. Let's go ahead and edit that bit, and I think that's in here. So groups. So that's what this one's going to be called now. So if we hit refresh, that should say under groups. It should say groups for a user. Yeah. Okay, and then this is going to be load groups. Okay, we don't care about that. We don't cert. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take a picture. Well, we first have got to find the user ID that we've got to go with. Okay, and we're going to have to add a parameter to load groups, which is down here, load groups. But if we go here, we should be able to see the subject. Now this is a debugging tool, so we're going to get the subject. How do we get that damn subject? Look at the Tsugi LTI data. Issue client. We're going to grab subject key. And so we are going to see what happens if user ID equals LTI, which is launch data, launch LTI parameter. Let's see if we get this. I mean, I wrote this code, but LTI parameter, which is then subject key. Let's just call this subject key. Echo We didn't do anything yet. We are just testing our parsing to see if, oh yeah, that didn't work so well. LTI parameter, okay. So LTI is the launch. Let's see if that works better. Go into groups. Groups for a user. Look at that. We got the right thing, which is the subject, which is how I want stuff to work. Now we got to do load groups. But let's check some here. Roster.php. So I have a first parameter in load names and roles that's either false or true, whether I want the source dids. But now I need a string parameter. So we're going to have to add a string parameter here. At param string $user ID. If this is a string, then only the groups for the user ID are retrieved. So now we're going to say so now we got to change how we call this guy. So we're going to call a null in here. I don't know. How about if I just make another method? So let's make another method here. Load all the groups, debug log. That might not work. Oh wait, no, I'm going to change its name. I was worried about thinking about the method signature, but we're just going to then return self : load groups. No. Okay. Oops. Okay. Oh. I hate adding parameters to URLs, but I think I got a util class that does that. Find manage name u.php. Add URL parm. Boys and girls, I like it. is string $user ID and strlen $user ID greater than 0. Context group URL. Is that a pass by value or a pass by reference? Okay, it's a return. Come back, come back, come back. Oops. That way, just don't have some many checks to see if there's a question mark already in the damn URL. This is where I'm worried, but because URL encode, if there's a question mark in that parameter, so subjects better not have question marks in them. If there's an LMS out there that's doing subjects with question marks, they're subject to this, like allow 3x, 3f. Oops. Allow 3f. Apache not processing URLs encoding with 3f, and it doesn't like the double encoding, and it doesn't like a URL that has a question mark on it that also has a question mark in a URL parameter, and it just blows it up, folks. Roar. People and their security solutions. Okay, but you know what? Sakai doesn't make that mistake. Thank heaven. So now, if I can load all groups, so then I go back into roster.php, not roster, groups. It's going to be load all groups and load groups. That feels pretty good. Let's see how well it works. Reload the whole thing. Go into groups. Watch our log here. Let's load all groups, and we got them all. Groups for user. Oh, do I not have debugging turned on for this? It's quicker to put a print statement in recompile. Quicker to recompile a servlet, put a debug print statement in, then turn debugging on. Unless, of course, you know, I was more sophisticated. Okay, so we've reloaded that. So now let's go back and refresh this. I got debugging turned on somewhere. Groups. Look at that, user ID equals. Okay, so that is happening. And that's really a subject. That's really a subject. That's not Sakai's user ID. So somewhere in Sakai, I think it's in the giant BLTI util static class that I have that, no. In this giant static class that I've got, like user ID from subject, let's see what I got here. Get subject user ID, site ID. Now that's getting subject. Return the user ID. So parse subject. So I'm thinking that I want to say if subject not equal null. Oh, you bastards. String utils is, I'm sorry, they're good people. Not empty. Dollar user ID. Dollar, it's not, sorry, subject. String So that is my tool to take a subject line that looks like that and get this part out, right? I mean, I just don't want to do any parsing in this code here, so I've got that in my util, static util class. So I'm gonna, in my log debug, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna print the subject. I wish that we call this subject, but we don't. We're just so stuck. Quick print statement so I don't have to restart my Sakai. Let's compile it, see what we get. She's deployed. So I'm not doing anything with that user ID yet. I'm just trying to get it to the point where it goes down into Tsugi and comes back as a parameter. Okay, did it already do all that? Oops. How come when I go here? Oh, it's right there. User ID is D78. Okay, so now I can get a Sakai user from the Sakai API with, so I got the subject, because I mean, subject is, to me, outside the LMS, subject is the user ID. We're not very good at that. We're just not very good at that. That's the inside GUID of this user. That is the outside one. But hey, I got her. I'm in good shape. So now I can pretty much take that print statement out. Now. Oh, that's right. Okay. Check this out. Oh boy. This is going to get a little bit ugly. So, if this user ID is not null, so let's do this. Let's do ternary operators so I don't get so many complaints. Oops, undo. Think of ternary operator as the first lambdas. It's like the first lambda ever. See how I did that? So now, if all goes well, we're still not, you'll notice that this format of this return value is a little changed. You got to put the user ID back in. Oh boy, that user ID is, I'm putting the subject in, you scumbags. Sorry. That's not a user ID, it's a subject. But okay. But now I think if I've done this right and I compile it, that's pretty cool because I'm letting the Sakai. Oop, that's a typo. Yeah, it's not happy. It'll get there. We'll get there. Branislav. Hello, Dr. Chuck. Are you working on some course from your path to the master programmer at the moment? No, I'm busy working on Sakai because our code freeze for Sakai 25 is like early fall. And after that, I'll probably start working on the next master programmer course, which is the hardware course. Yeah. Okay, did we deploy? We did deploy. Okay, so my belief is that now if we run this test, and we go here, that print doesn't come out because we didn't. Groups for user. Loaded. Oh, that's because I'm not a person who's in a group, which is really cool. So let's go like this and log in as Nancy Drew 1 and go into this same site. Yeah, I'm doing something. I'm doing something. Hang on. I'm streaming. What's up? What's up? Yes. That'd be great. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Back as Nancy Drew. So let's launch. And so now we are going to go into groups. All the groups. Groups for, yes! Look at that. Now, yeah, no, this is right. This is what we're supposed to do. So if we look at the spec, and then the only thing we got to add is we got to add this user ID, which, like, what the priglababa. So that's okay. We got to add this user ID. If you recall, the part of the JSON that I'm building, I do this by hand. Oh, that's going to be crappy because I got to serialize that JSON. Okay, well, let's look at the code. So we got to print the user ID back out right here. If string utils is not empty, subject, folks, we're going to have to say println, and this is it's supposed to be user ID. User ID I'm online. I'm online. I don't know what happened to her. We were just talking to her. I have no idea. You were down there, I wasn't. Okay. My family's in the house, and so every once in a while they just shout at me from downstairs and I have to answer. So this will work, right? That's going to work because it's just not serialized right. And so let's compile this and see if it works and see if, yeah, okay. Yeah, that ought to work. It's going to work. It's just, what if there's a double quote or a single quote and I haven't followed the rules of JSON serializing a string? You know what I'm saying? And so it'll look good. Let's see if it deploys. Let's run a quick test. Oh, let's run a quick test as Nancy Drew. Go into groups. Groups for the current user. See that? That's nice. But it's not serialized right. Right? So there's a quote in there, like who's going to put a quote in the subject, but I don't care. So what JSON libraries do we have here? We're using, what JSON library are we using? JSON object. That's what is JSON object. Org JSON simple. Hey, let's go back to ChatGPT. Where's our friend ChatGPT? Let's ask ChatGPT this question. Is there a method in org JSON simple that gives a serialized version of a string? Yeah, that's not going to make me very happy because then I got to parse the dang string. Okay, do we have any other JSON? Do we have Jackson? So it looks like I have my own Jackson util. Java. Maybe I already built this thing. Let's see what I got. Okay, so let me ask it an impossible question. Does the Tsugi util code in Sakai project in GitHub have a method to serialize a string into a JSON string? Let's see what you know. It's like, I am unaware of things in GitHub. Ooh, it's working. No. No, no, no. I don't want okay. Okay. How might I use to give the serialized version of a string? Don't tell me about the palms. Object mapper. Come on. Object mapper. Okay, I'm feeling good about this. Okay. Got some pretty printy stuff. Public, static, serialize, string, string, input. Okay, so let's borrow this stuff here. We got object mapper. Yes, we do. String object mapper, string object mapper. I already got one of those things. Right there. Oh wait. To string, right value of string. What do we got? Wait. What happened? I don't know about that. Interesting. It looks like it's doing it right here. We can do a toString from the string because it's not an object, so maybe it's going to work. So, subject. Yeah, there we go, come on. So I'm going to go call this guy Jackson util toString subject. Whew. That's really weird. If it works that way, that would be pretty neat if the object mapper just did it the way okay, so I think that's going to be wrong because it looks like what it does is it just turns it into quotes, but let's just run it, which means we're going to get a JSON error, which is okay. Kaboom. Let's go into groups and let's look for groups for users and unable to parse. Let's look at its debug log and got doubles this. Okay, so that's interesting. We don't need the, it's going to give us the double quotes, so we don't need to add the double quotes. So that's mighty cool. I might change my pattern just a little bit. We don't need this. And we don't need could just, if I was smart, I would do this. Smart guy. I'm happy with this. Yum. That's pretty cool. Yeah, let's just go. Which one we're in here? Okay, so this is the groups, names and groups. So let's take a look. Hit refresh here. NRPS, that still works. Names and groups, groups for user. Beautiful, beautiful. That's working. I'm gonna fix. I'm gonna do a little cleanup in. Jackson's my friend. Nice. I'm using that toString now. Well, let's just compile that and test it. And nobody's watching. Compile and test. Come on, deploy. Yep, they're deployed. So this, I just changed the names and roles bit, so let's just check that. Yeah, okay, I didn't break anything. Okay, so I think that I have successfully did it. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have to do next. So we added this user ID, which I would rather be subject. Oh well. We did groups equals true. Even though we don't require groups equals true, we just give it back to them. Group sets, we've already got the limit code working because we borrowed that. What is this? That's the claim. We've already got the claim working. The scope, we got the scope working. Okay, so that is the only thing I need to do, and that's like a completely different part of the code. So I think that what I'm going to do, how long have we been going? Hour and 20. I think I'm going to stop this stream here and review the code and do a get push so I don't lose this. So let's do some code review. Okay? I didn't do too much. Jesus, it just changed one file. Let's just make sure. Yeah, I'm not going to change that. Oh wait, I do want to do one thing first. Okay, so I want to cd Tsugi util find dot minus name Jackson Eric. Okay, so I want to change Jackson util test because I'm using Jackson util. I didn't change Jackson util, but I'm using it in a way that I just want to be good. Okay, so I want to be able to say, where's Jackson util? Okay, string out equals Jackson util dot toString hello world exclamation. Assert equals out comma hello world, because serialization adds those quotes and I'm depending on that. So let's do an assert equals, and let's go to here, Maven test, move that over here, and then I'm going to put a double quote inside of it, boom, slash double quote, and a single quote, and a new line. And I'm going to run that same thing. I don't know what the hell's coming out in this situation. So, okay, let's run the test again. That test is a long test. Too many unit tests. We're building lots of unit tests. So I just want to make sure that in the unit test, it doesn't change how that toString works. I mean, it's not going to, but I just want to catch myself. I will feel better because in the back of my mind, I'm saying, well, that's an assumption you just made, Chuck, that I'm going to get the double quotes back when you do a serialization using the object mapper. Now this one's supposed to blow up because I serialized stuff with weird characters in it and compared it to the ones without the weird characters, but mostly I'm just coming here to get the, there we go. What? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. What happened? Oh, no, it blew up here. I'm an idiot. The first one blew up. And it didn't run the second one. Okay. The first one blew up. So there I go. I'll be right back. I'm going to get some water. You can watch this unit test run. Oh, what one? Oh, this is the second one. Okay. So that's what it's supposed to say in there. So the second one I meant to break. I think this needs to be a backslash, backslash, backslash quote. And then a single quote, and I think that's a backslash, backslash, and I think that's how I have to do that. Right? Backslash. Let's see if I got it. That'll be a good unit test to have. Friendly little happy unit test. So while we're here, get status, get diff. Holy mackerel. Be right back. Somebody just ring the doorbell. I'll let you watch the unit test again. It's good luck if I watch the unit test. Okay. I think they wanted to sell me Windows, so I'm not gonna sell Windows. Okay. What? Looks like I missed a space. Oh, I want a space there anyways. We'll get there. These unit tests take the unit tests are supposed to be fast. This unit test is taking a long time. But it's worth it. In code review, you always get like extra karma points for unit tests. And I feel good about unit tests. So let's go back to do get diff. Space dollar. Oh crap. Did I have some bad? There's a yada in here. I can't have that. I have some bad. Okay, so that unit test is good. So that's good. I'll keep that unit test in there. So just while I was cleaning up this get diff, it occurred to me that I have some part of the code. Whoop, what's that? There's another yada. Let's do get diff again. Another space. Okay. Well, let's recompile it. Just for fun. Clear Mateo. So here's the problem. Let's go find files changed. Somewhere I've got some spacing that's wrong. And hopefully it'll show up here. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so I got this spacing wrong, and that's... I hate editors. So I got to find this thing and see if there's spaces or tabs. And then I got to fix the spaces and tabs. I'm going to guess this file has tabs and spaces are bad. So let's go to 1581, and no, 1581 is even right. let's just go to handle group service. I might as well on this in this commit, might as well fix this so that people don't yell at me for spacing. So it's right. These are tabs. Yeah. Okay. So these are tabs. This whole file seems to be tabs. So that's spaces. Okay. So let's go for let's search for. Put all this new code in here. And it made it be yep, I just yanked it and put it in with spaces. I'm sure there is a faster way to do this. Let's go further down. Oh. Sure, there's a command I could type here in VI that would be way faster, but I don't know what that command is. It takes me too long. I could just ask ChatGPT. When using VI and you want to change for spaces to a tab in a block of text, how do you do it? Come on, you gotta know to change. Open a file, yeah. Select the block, visual block mode. Oh, I see. Okay, let's try it. First, let's write the file in case I screw it up. Control V. Now I'm going down to here. Okay, ChatGPT, what else do I do? Once the block is selected, press colon to enter command mode. Colon. S. Oh, I see. That must be beginning block. S 1 2 3 4 tab G. Ha! That's not my code. Don't like it. Looks ugly, but I want to fix it because I don't want to screw up patches and backporting. So now I can save that, and I can sure we'll SMV it just to make sure I didn't break it terribly, which I hope it didn't. Then I'm going to do a get diff. Get diff. A lot of spacing fixes. Not much. Get diff minus B. That was a surprisingly easy thing to do. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. That compiled. So I'm gonna do a get status and say add support for user ID parameter. Did we also and group enrollments? Get push origin SAK-48745. Kablooey. Let's go take a look in GitHub and see what we got. We already got a PRN to Sakai. Pull requests. Implement course group service. I just pushed it. So we're going to have to wait a ways. I want to see how my spacing worked. See if it's a little happier. It was all in, yeah, it was all in here. Yeah, that spacing looks a lot better. Going to get a lot less grumpiness from the reviewers. There we go. Okay, so that pull request is on its way. So let's see, it's been an hour and 38. I may think it through after I get off and notice that there's something I haven't finished yet. But we're in pretty good shape. And as I go through this spec, other than group sets, which I don't plan to. Here, let's put that back up. You know, other than group sets, which we don't have groups of groups in Sakai, so I don't think, I mean, I may learn later that I need to do group sets. But we've covered a lot of this already. Like the user ID feature that we did today and the groups feature, groups feature for memberships, groups equals true, that went in surprisingly good just because my code was ready for it. You know, it was pretty elegantly built. The APIs, I didn't have to go digging through to figure out how to call the right API. They were just like right there in front of me what the right API was, return to collection, et cetera, et cetera. And so like things like the limit parameters and all that. Substitution parameters, membership course group IDs. I don't think I'm going to do that one, but I am going to do this one, group substitution. This is probably the hardest remaining part of this effort, but that's because I've got to go into assignments and I've got to add a, let me see if I got, let's make sure I got group, I think I've got my groups going right. I got odd and even, right? Yeah, so what we're going to do next is we're going to create an assignment, blah, 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 blah. Make it an LTI assignment. Pick a tool. And I got to fix a bug in document annotator, so I'll go ahead and install that one. And so, yeah, we'll call it document annotator. And so what's going to happen here is let's allow resubmission, allow unlimited submissions. LTI tools just like this best. So the selected group, you must select selected groups as a group assignment. One group member submits on behalf of the entire group. And I'm going to go with even and odd. So now this is going to be assigned. We got to check it, of course. but I've got even and odd set up so that Nancy drew 1 and 3 are an odd and Nancy drew 2 and 4 are an even. And so now I can make a grade book, and now I can create this, right? So if I go into grading this, you'll see that I'm supposed to have a submission from Nancy drew 1 and Nancy drew 3. So let's go ahead in to be Nancy drew 1 now. Nancy drew 1 has an assignment. So we are going to go into Nancy drew 1 and we're going to make a submission. Hi from Nancy 1. Submit. So now if Nancy drew 1 goes back, it says submitted. If I were to log in as Nancy drew 3, they would see that they're also submitted. And in particular, if I go into the teacher and I look at this page, Nancy drew odd has been submitted. Yeah. No assignments. Grade. I want to use the Sakai Grader because it's way yummier. So basically, right? And so the key thing that I got to fix is this moment of go to external tool. That particular launch has got to, according to this, tell which course group ID this is being submitted for. Submitted with the ID of only one context group associated with the launch, or if there's no group associated with the launch, yada yada. And so it captures the business rules of Sakai's assignments tool. And so I've got a part, this is code we haven't looked at. It's the assignments tool. There's some LTI code that sort of receives when this is clicked, and I have to know that this is a group assignment, and I need to know what group ID that student is coming from. And then I've got to make it available to the tool through this group substitution variables. So that'll be a bunch of stuff, but it's not really the group's services as much as it is the Sakai assignments tool doing the things that it needs to do. And so that'll be it'll be good for me to take a little time off, come back to it, and then dive into the assignments part of this. It will overlap some of the code we've touched in before, Sakai LTI util, other places, but most of it will be in the assignments tool to then send data to Sakai LTI tool to then put data into the launch so that the tool can get it. And then I'm going to have to go into the PHP code and receive that piece of information and be able to test and verify that it knows that piece of information. None of my tools know what to do with that information yet, but that's not the essence of this. Is like I just have to verify that the information is properly sent. And I can do that verification that is properly sent by just looking. Document annotator does me no good. Oh, I'm not an assignment. Yeah. I should have. Yeah, I'm going to need to change this tool here. I need to change this tool here to be more assignments aware. And so I'll probably, by the time it's all said and done, I'll probably teach this to do some of the testing of, some of the testing. There'll be another tab here called grade line items tool. Yeah, I'm gonna have a whole new button here by the time it's all said. Oh, you're not even seeing it. Yeah, I'm gonna have a whole new button here by the time it's all said and done to test this assignments and groups workflow. But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, that's the whole idea of me having. That's the whole idea of me having both the LMS and a tool so that I can do a complementary thing. So, okay, well, with that, I'm going to sign off for this particular stream. And so I hope you found it useful and look forward to the next stream. Cheers.